let's talk about working on brass cars and stuff. This was my project for you guys. I said I want to work on a car to demonstrate to them what can be done. This is an old Hallmark model of a Santa Fe Dynamometer car, except it doesn't look anything like, well, it looks something like the old Hallmark model. But I got started on it and couldn't quit. So what did I do? Okay, on this end, this is the back end, I added the steam hose and the air hose. Up here at the top, I built this frame that kind of goes around where the brake wheel is. And I put the uncoupling levers on it, and I rolled the little eyes for it with that tool I was showing you. On this side, the post in the middle of the door was added. This window was one big window. I added the column in the middle because it's a two-piece window. These steps were fabricated. This is flat brass for the 3 verticals, and then brass angle for the steps themselves. This end got the uncoupling, the hoses, and these MU cables. It had, or connectors, it had a piece of brass here with 2 dimples in it that it called an MU, and I said that won't cut it. So I got some brass MU connectors and put on it. This side the same as the other side. The roof got a lot of work. First of all, there's a railing here, a hand railing, that was totally wrong. It had it had another support. It came all the way back almost to the cupola, which is wrong. The spacing was wrong, and if you look at the model closely, you'll see that these stanchions go down and have a bend before they get to the roof. There's a little bend down there. So this was totally reworked. The old pieces were soldered up. Now when I prime this thing, I'm probably going to have a bunch of filling to do because solder isn't real good for filling its own holes. I added these spotlights to the front, which were very visible on the real thing. I added the hand railing that goes around the roof. Now that hand railing is out of piano wire because I wanted it to be stronger. I figured that car might get grabbed here a time or two and the piano wire would be stronger. The car did not have this walkway around the roof. So I got some flat brass from G&G and milled the grooves in it because I wanted it to match what was already on the car. And it's soldered onto little pieces of brass angle that hold it up off the roof. And you have 3 of them that are visible over here as on the real thing. The stack, the chimney on it was horrible, and so I turned this on the lathe and added the support wires. If I had to do again, I'd put smaller support wires. And then it had 8 chimneys on the top here. Where they got that idea, I have no idea. I've never seen a picture of this prototype with 8, so I got rid of 3 of them. And then for the underbody, where this Pullman tank is, it had a brass bar screwed on the bottom, as was typical years ago. So this is a precision scale Pullman tank. I could not find decent toolboxes in brass. So what I did, the closest thing I could find was a toolbox on an old Rivarossi car, which I then added channel to mimic what Santa Fe had in toolboxes, and then I cast them in resin. There's 5 of those under there. And I had to remove a couple of other supports to get all that in there. But anyway, this is a car that has been substantially reworked. Everything that's small, like these railings, I did with the iron. Everything that had to touch the body in a substantial way, like putting on this Pullman tank, was done with the resistance soldering. Now with the resistance soldering on this, what I did was I held the tank down, scribed the perimeter of it, and then I laid down some of the paste solder where that perimeter was and hit it with the iron to tin it. And then I did the same thing with the top of the precision scale casting, which is hollow, and tinned the top of it. Then I laid it where I wanted to, put the resistance soldering on here until everything fused together. But that is a substantial chunk of brass to try to solder on anything. The piece I brought for tonight is a little old Santa Fe consolidation tender that I picked up for next to nothing. And one reason I did is because its previous owner tried to install lights on it. And in so doing, he drilled out the old light and left quite a mess. I've kind of cleaned this area before, right there. And this is a precision scale, I believe, light that is like your golden glows that the Santa Fe used. So I want to attach that. What I'm going to do is, first of all, tin it. I'm going to put some on the little protrusion there. And on these two pieces that stick out. I may be able to do that with the regular soldering iron. Yep. That is a small piece, and it gets hot fast. Okay. So it's tinned. I need to see where I'm going to put it on the engine, on the tender. Point it in the right direction. Okay, Jim. Yeah, it's not nickel plate. Let's see. Incidentally, I don't know if you recognize how much light there was on the deck of a tender, but I have been climbing on prototypes lately, taking lots of pictures for reference. And at least on the Santa Fe locomotives, they always wipe the tip of that so it makes good contact. On Santa Fe locomotives, the tail light, which looked like it was just a red tail light sticking out the back, actually had three white lights that two pointed out the bottom and one pointed to the deck of the tender so they could see the deck of the tender in the dark. And then they had other lights situated up in the front on the rear of the cab to illuminate the tender. So there was quite a bit of light. Okay, that's pretty well tinned. I'm going to add just a little bit more. I think that's too much. It's one of the nice things about the liquid. If you don't like what you're doing, clean it off and start again. resistance ground can be connected anywhere because all it needs is a electrical connection.